Hello, young people. Pastor Danae asked me to record a message about what God has done in my life, and I have so many things to be thankful for. It's really hard to kind of focus on just one or two things. So I thought I would just tell you a story about a family I know. It was a husband and his wife and their 2-year-old kid, and they were driving from Dallas to Oklahoma City to celebrate the 2-year-old's birthday with her grandparents in Oklahoma City. And the husband was not a very patient driver. He tried to pass a car very unsafely and lost control of the vehicle, went out across a field, went airborne over a deep gully, and the vehicle hit the side of the gully and then flipped end over end several times and landed upside down. So the police and the ambulance and the fire department came, all the first responders, and the man had on his seatbelt, and that's what saved his life. When they cut the seatbelt, he kind of compressed like an accordion. His back was broken, but he was going to be okay. The woman was not wearing her seatbelt because she was pregnant. She was very uncomfortable. But the fact that she was not wearing her seatbelt saved her life. Where the windshield and the passenger side window kind of connect, and then there's that bar, her face went up into that bar, and it tore her face off. She lost her nose, she lost her lips, she lost her eyelid, and she lost her face on this side down to her skull. They lifted the car off, had to use the jaws of life to get it open. And as they were lifting her, the baby started making noise. And they did not realize that there was a baby in the car at that time, until that time. So they got the woman out, and then they coaxed the 2-year-old to come out. The 2-year-old ended up with a scratch on her knee. So they had the man and the woman in the back of an ambulance, and they didn't have room in the ambulance for the 2-year-old, so they put her in the front with the driver and another paramedic. And the driver of the ambulance said he would not take them to the nearest town because he had seen too many people go into that hospital and never come out. He said it wasn't a good hospital. So the highway patrol and the police officers closed down the highway from Murray, Oklahoma to Oklahoma City. And it's quite a ways. And this was a long time ago. This was over 50 years ago. There were no cell phones. But the woman's family had been notified of the accident, and they were on the way to Murray. So they were in the traffic of the closed down highway while the ambulance was on the way to Oklahoma City. So when the ambulance got to Oklahoma City, to the hospital, there was no family members there. And the woman and the man were on gurneys in the hallway of the ambulance. There was no one there to fill out any paperwork. There was no one there to sign, indicating they would take any responsibility for them. And these people who had survived this crash they were gonna lay in the hospital and die because no one was there to sign paperwork to take responsibility. But when the woman's parents had been notified about this wreck, they made a call to their church. And their church started calling other members, asking that they pray. So the woman's youth leader, the woman's Pastor Danae and Pastor Anthony, they were at the hospital waiting for the woman and her husband. And she said, I will excuse me. She said, I will sign the paperwork. I will take responsibility. You get these people some treatment. You do what you have to do. You save these people. So, the woman was in surgery. She was in very serious condition. Her family finally got to the hospital. And the doctors came out to talk to her family, and they said, you need to be prepared that she may never live. She probably won't live through this surgery. And the family said, do what you have to do. Please save her. Our daughter. Please save her. So, the family started praying. That's all they could do. They could just pray. A little later, they came out again with another update, and they said, your daughter's very strong. She's young, she's strong, she's healthy. It looks like she's going to survive. But you need to know, she's probably going to be a vegetable. She's not going to be the daughter that you had before. We've put her in a medically induced coma. We don't know if she'll ever come out of the coma. You need to be prepared for her to be in a coma for the rest of her life. And there is no way that that baby's going to survive. The family said, okay, just keep our daughter alive. Just do what you have to do to keep our daughter alive. And the family continued to pray. And they prayed and they prayed. Because that's all they could do. Because it was in God's hand. So, this went on for days. Because the woman was in a coma. And then one day, the woman woke up. And standing at the foot of her bed was her mother and her sister and her mother-in-law. And she called each one of them by name. And somebody ran out in the hall and said, we need a doctor in here because one of these women has passed out and probably has a concussion. And oh yeah, this woman has woken up from the coma. So somebody please come check her out. And the woman was fine. She was just fine. So, the reason that this story is very emotional for me is because this last week, my family celebrated this woman's 80th birthday. And the 2-year-old has grown up to be a very, very bossy 5'4" stick of dynamite. But she's fine. And the 80-year-old woman is very special to us because she is our mother. And I am the baby that was not supposed to survive. So, God is alive, and He works in the lives of normal, everyday people. We are not pro football players. We are not famous actresses. We are normal people. My mom was a secretary. My sister was a second grade teacher. I work for a law firm. We're just normal people. But God works in our family every day. And if you have never seen a miracle, well, now you have. Because I am a miracle baby that was not supposed to live. My mom is a miracle woman who was supposed to be a vegetable. And my sister's just, I guess, a miracle 2-year-old that grew up to be a bossy old second grade teacher. But yes, God is alive, and He has done wonderful things in our family. And yes, we celebrated my mother's 80th birthday. And I would just encourage you to keep a relationship with God, because He's your best friend. He will never let you down. And no matter what you think about other people and relying on other people, God will never let you down. So have a great evening, and hopefully maybe one day I can meet you. Thank you for your time.